To Academy of Tone 170, and today, hey, we are moving this way and that way and that way. It's try to get us even here. Lucas is following me with the camera. So hey, this was some very funky bluesy intro with 4 different amplifiers actually. And a minor blues. Yeah, I was using my 57 Tweed Deluxe. I was using my 65 JTM 45. I was using the Princeton with a tube screamer. And I was using the Amp1 Mercury Edition. So, and the Strat. And the whatever 6 minutes of that jam were running fast. Okay, today's topic is the Blues Rock Masterclass. I have done a Blues Rock Masterclass for Guitar Summit, which is the German organization behind that big event in Mannheim, which is coming up in September. And they asked me to do like a masterclass for blues and rock, which is maybe the topic that I know a little bit about. I'm not that 100% the blues guy, but I think blues is important as the foundation of rock. And so I have a big heart for the blues, but probably I'm more the rock guy than the blues guy. But it's important to start with the blues. And this is what we are doing today here as well. First, tone-wise, and secondly also, you know, like lick-wise, what we are playing. So I want to talk about that. And I want to use that live stream here to be a little bit more interactive, since that a Blues Rock Masterclass that I've done for the Guitar Summit is just an online course that you can book. The story is great because I ended up to have like 10 hours of video lessons, 30 backing tracks, countless chord charts, scales, exercises, and topics. So if you want to check that out, let me show you a little bit more about what's actually the content. So it starts like with an introduction, of course, and then I'm talking about major blues, the blues roots, basic patterns, chords, shuffle rhythm, which is important, the rhythmic things. Then how to spice up your shuffle, slow blues, what I have just done right now. Then with more complicated or more complex chords like jazz blues, and then that turnaround at the end of the chord changes, which is a topic you can dive in deeper. There are so many options. Yeah. And then there's like a special chapter about minor blues. Then I'm talking about rhythm guitars, funk style, power chords. And so here it's still blues based, but kind of a little bit between blues and rock. Then in that masterclass, I'm going into the scales, minor pentatonic, the blue note, major pentatonic, then combining boxes, combining scales, and my approach to scales, which is, I think, pretty unique and in the end kind of simple, I believe, and it's something that I believe some people have too much problems with, and they don't use it in the right way. So I would be happy if you guys would think the way I think, because I believe it's that simple, and it's an easy approach, easier than what I usually hear from other teachers or theory lessons. Well, anyway, then there's a chapter about all the technique, bending, picking, open slides, advanced techniques, and blah, blah, blah. Then there's advanced scales, more harmonic minor, melodic minor, ear training, la, 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 tons of things, which is all in that course. Then advanced patterns for guys that want to play fast. This is more like the rock side, like 3 notes per string patterns, fluent and fast things. Then how to phrase properly, and then I have a lot of examples on iconic styles of people like Jimi Hendrix, Angus Young, Jeff Beck, Jimmy Page, Gary Moore, Carlos Santana, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Billy Gibbons, John Mayer, Eric Clapton, yeah, and so on, blah, blah, blah. So this is the masterclass that I've done for these guys. Here is a goodie for you. I have talked to the guys. They have increased the price, but here's 2 things. On Friday, this Friday, they will go back to that special low price, 99. And if you use that code here, which is that code, maybe you can see, AOT8, you get a 10% discount. That's only valid for this month. So that's all I could do for you guys. There's one more thing for the Germans. When the event takes place in Mannheim, my masterclass, my physical masterclass in a room in German. So please, Germans, don't complain about me talking English all the time. We have more people on this planet, and most people speak English. If you want to see me in Mannheim at my masterclass, it was sold out, but they increased for 5 more places there, which is on the Sunday, the 24th of September from 2 to 6. And this is where you get the places. It's, www.guitarsummit.de/academy/. This is where you find 5 more places. So basically, that's all I could do for you guys. And now we can talk about, blues roots and things. Well, maybe I want to start with the roots thing. In the very early years of the blues, the Robert Johnsons and the what I took from that period for my own playing was, it was basically one guy that was singing and playing the rhythm and the lead guitar. So it's like a one-man show kind of thing, which is beautiful in a way. And as I always say, if there's no groove, there's no music. So the most important thing is not that you play fast scales or anything. The most important thing is that you have a groove. Yeah. So I'm using my, actually I'm doing picking here for, I use the thumb for the low strings or the low notes, which is like blues and E, which means the open low E. And then I use the other fingers, like my middle and my ring finger. And actually I'm still holding my pick with the, what is it? The index finger with this one, in case I would use it. But if I would play like this, I could get rid of the pick and just use my hand and do it like Mark Knopfler style, you know. Then I can use my kind of alternate picking with the thumb and the index finger. And using these two fingers, you can actually get pretty fast. I mean, just remember Mark Knopfler. He is pretty fast. Yeah. So what I'm basically doing is I'm plugging eighths on the low E string or on the bass notes, and then play a little simple melody. If you are interested in the master of that technique, Johnson, hey, fuck, Nashville, I played with him. What's his name? You should know. Fuck, I have a picture on my phone. Johnson. So, but what's his first name? I show you a picture. Fucking hell, I'm so bad. Wait a minute, this is not. Years and years and years go by, and here, fucking hell, Robert Johnson is the old blues guy, and this is Justin Johnson. Yes, and now I want to come up with a picture because I'm browsing through 10,000 pictures on my phone just to find him. And it's Justin Johnson and tons of pictures, UK pictures. Should show up. All kind of, man. La 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 la. Hey, where are we? Another one. Okay, another one. Ah, here we are. There, here we are. So finally, this guy is the expert. He plays he plays not only the shuffle, he plays the shuffle. If you know that, like with the slide and stuff like that. Killer. Okay. It's not Eric Johnson, Giffy. Yeah, that would be nice. But no, this is he knows how to make the groove, with that right hand. And he's from Nashville. He learned that from the very early age. So I think that's a good starting point, because in history, in blues history, this was also like the first incarnation of the blues, singing easy, just a simple line, and then you play the beat on the guitar, and that's basically it. Okay. The next thing you should know is, if you want to go shuffle, okay, which is triplets basically, 1 2 3 1 2 3, and then you have just the 1 and the 3, 1 3 1 3 1 3 1 3 1 2 3. So 1 2 3 1 2 3, but I'm only playing 1 and 3. 1 3 1 3, and I'm leaving the 2 out, and that's the shuffle. Yeah, so that's something important to understand shuffle. Even if you are a rock player, triplets are king. It's so important for anything. What's going on here? Somebody's talking about Wacken. Okay, that's metal. We talk about harder stuff next episode. Okay. For me, the thing always starts with the groove. And then when you are in the groove, you can work on your vocabulary. And here is, maybe I do the basics again. Blues in A, we can have different styles of blues. There is like the dominant 7 blues. So this is all dominant 7 chords. A7, D7, back to A7, back to D7, and then A7, E7, D7, A7. So, and of course we all know the pentatonic. And here is the typical mistake. I repeat myself, but that's the thing. Everybody plays a C, and the first chord is an A7 with a C sharp, because it's an A major 7, an A dominant 7, which has a C sharp and not a C. So everybody plays blues in A, which sounds shit. So the point here is, listen to the notes in the chords, then you know what time it is. And you should at least bend your C to a kind of a blue C sharp, and the world is in order. It's like... So what I'm doing when I play the blues in A, I'm following the chords with the C sharp and the C. Well, on the second chord with the blues in A, which is the D7, we have that C, we have that 7 of the D7 is a C. And that's the right note from our simple pentatonic. So guys, next time you play a C over an A7 dominant chord, you know it's shit. Please try it at least to bend it. People like Angus Young, they have a fantastic ear for that. They never play a C when there should be a C sharp. And their trick is maybe, I try to get my own theory about how to get to the right notes. He is mixing the minor pentatonic and the major pentatonic. So when he plays over the first chord, then he plays the A major pentatonic, which is the same notes as a F sharp minor pentatonic. But the point here is changing to the A minor pentatonic for the second chord, which is the D7 chord. Okay? That's so important. And by the way, we have a fantastic interview with Tommy Z, who is a great blues player from, well, the States, coming up later. And he has the right tone, he has the right feel and the right choices of notes, and he will explain what he's doing and what's great about that thing. But here, again, the note choice is so important. And it's not so important that you show up with the latest Bonamassa 5 notes patterns mixed with 6 and whatever. It's more important to find the right notes first, and then you can go to speed. I'm checking the stream here. There's some in the chat. What is doubling in the guitar audio? Huh? Well, it's probably when I play and talk at the same time. We have a ducking thing. Something is wrong with the audio. What's going on? One more micro-wise, Liv and Thomas guitar have involved enough from the first. I don't get it. Was metal? Even from the stuff you're teaching today? Well, yeah, metal. Everything comes from the. I mean, even Black Sabbath. There's a blue note and all that stuff. But hey, slowly, guys. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is find the right notes, and you can get the notes from major pentatonic and the minor pentatonic. So, and when it comes to that fifth 5, the dominant chord E7, listen to, there's a G sharp. So, and that's not in the A minor pentatonic either. So you better follow the chord tones. No? And that's the beauty of people that got ears, they can hear when the notes clash or when they play the right notes. Sometimes it's great to have some clashing as well. I'm not saying everything should be nice and polished and boring. No, I'm saying is you should be just aware and listening to the notes that you are playing. So. So, and then we all heard about that blue note, which is a flat 5 or a sharp 4. So, the funny thing is that blue note in the minor pentatonic is that E flat and the C is that blue note in the major pentatonic A. Aha. So you can actually work with the proper note on A. And then use that C as a blue note. That makes sense. But don't start with the blue note over that chord first. Understood? You first have to get the right impression, and then you make the tension. If you hit somebody in the face with a shitty note, it's not a good story you want to tell. It's like, I'm just stubborn and don't know anything. So what I'm trying to say is try to get that good note. And in between you can bend beautiful notes like Jeff Beck. This is where it comes from. Okay? And the good old blues guys, they knew that. If you listen to B.B. King, he sometimes only plays those 5 notes and sometimes just 3. But he knows how to bend that note. Okay, note choice, that's the key thing here. The next topic is, once you understand those note choices, and once you have reached a level that you can really choose the right notes at the right place, you can go and be a bit more free. And what I have done is I have simply combined the scales that appear in the blues, later on rock as well, and kind of put together the scales as notes that I kind of pick sometimes even at places where you would not expect them. So phase 1 is you play the right notes at the right place. And phase 2 is once you want to go and get to the next level and play a little bit faster or freer and stuff, and you need more notes, you can combine the scales that I just talked about. Minor pentatonic, major pentatonic, the blue note in both pentatonics, and then you will end up with a very hybrid scale. So, for instance, let's have the minor pentatonic on A, C, D, G, A, you know. Okay, if I would play a major pentatonic, there would be a B and a C sharp. So I could play both scales in one. A, B, C, C sharp, D, which comes from the minor pentatonic again. So then I would go and have that blue note, which is like E flat, E, okay? And here we have kind of typical runs, you know, that we know from the music. Okay, the next note I would choose is F sharp, which comes from the major pentatonic. Okay, so I have that note. And then I would throw in the next note from the minor pentatonic, which is the G. So F sharp, G. Got it? A. Yeah, and then we are back here. So this would be the hybrid scale. Hey, and then so, and what I'm doing now with all my whittling is using those notes. Okay, and then of course I would use other boxes and stuff like that. I hope you get the idea. It's like combining minor, major pentatonic plus the blue notes, or actually this gives me only one note because the blue note in the major pentatonic is the C, which is part of the minor pentatonic anyway. So this gives me the input for how many notes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Correct? Yeah. Wait a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah. And then the 10 would be the next A, and it would repeat there. Got it? The question here is, do you pick every note or is it legato? I do a mixture, of course. I'm a guy that likes to pick a lot of notes because so that's something I learned and I do by nature. But a lot of licks actually are sounding pretty cool when you do rakes and hammer-ons, and that's a rake. It's only one note and I'm brushing through the strings, and this was kind of a pull-off. And that's a typical hammer-on. It sounds much better than, you know, it's like, so instead of, you know, that's typewriter playing. One hit, but hey, it depends on what I want. I can do both, and sometimes it's great to be an exact and these thrills, this what is my good friend Jürgen Zöller, drummer of the German band Bab, always saying is, fills are the thrills, but the groove pays the bills. So now we are entering the thrills level. That's, for instance, is a typical Eric Clapton, Ritchie Blackmore, everybody does it. Okay, so it's a combination of everything. I try to be effective in a way, so I do whatever is easiest and sounds best. So if it sounds shit, I work on something that sounds better. But if it's just complicated, it doesn't make any sense. I'm not torturing myself. That's I see somebody is seeing my drink here, Bionade. It's a lemonade. Legato in blues, not so much, because legato is not having enough energy that I can put behind the string. So a hammer-on has more energy because I hit the string hard and then, you know, my next finger kind of smashes the string. And I think legato is more for high gain. Generalizing here. Somebody has problems with the ears. Okay. A version of amp that's particular. Osmium Studios was, in case there will be a popular blueprint on amp X, would you do a version of amp 1 of that particular blueprint? Ha! Okay, now you're distracting me, guys, but the amp X is my development platform for the future, of course. If I have the best blueprint on an amp X, I can do a product out of that, of course. Prost, Sonja. Let me talk a little bit about the sounds. In the intro songs, I had fun with like 4 different amps. Let's start with, okay, number 1 is my amp 1. Switch it on. It's what I kind of use most of the time. So, and you can check by the reverb. So what I have been doing here is I was using the clean channel and the boost, and I was using the master volume pretty high, and I tried to get the volume in a range where this 100-watt amp is not too loud versus my Fender Princeton, which is 18 watts or something like that, or the Tweed Deluxe. Let me show you those amps. So let's start with the oldest one, which is the 57 Tweed Deluxe, and it is that one. No, it's not that one. Sorry. That's the one. Okay. Sorry for the noise, but this is a good old tube amp from 1957. The L caps might be a bit dry and therefore not in perfect condition, but I think that's a great tone. And we are going back to 1957. I'm not using an overdrive pedal. I use a 61 Stratocaster into a Fender Deluxe. Yeah, no reverb, just Fender Deluxe, Tweed Deluxe, the real deal. And if I would have played and lived in 1957, that would be my gear. Every tone was already there on this planet. A Fender Strat and a Tweed Deluxe, you know. So for me, the beautiful thing about that amp is it has that muddy, ZZ Top-ish low end. So most people would say, "Bleh, the thing is farts out," or whatever, how they would describe it. But that's something I learned about vintage amps. They do that. And for me, I have to tame it by my playing style. And I'm molding the sounds out of that noise. So the amp cleans up, or I simply turn down the volume and then it's nice compression. I'm in heaven. With such an amp, I'm in heaven. Okay. I show you that amp 1 is also kind of capable to go in this direction, but not quite. And the reason I will explain later, and I will show you how to get there, but this is amp 1. And all I do is now use the clean channel, put it on 10, and too much reverb. So I'm using the power soak here to be at the same thing, but I'm using master volume, and that's where we get those old school tones that most people don't like, but I love. Tweed Deluxe. It's now too clean. Okay, I give it more gain. Can you, when I play the low notes here and try to play the high notes at the same time, the Fender doesn't even get those anymore. It's kind of covered in that bass cloud. strong, the high notes disappear. Let's see what my amp1 does. It goes the same way, okay? But this is now using the master volume cranked like crazy. This is almost 10. It's 8, 9, no? And I'm using the power soak to be in the range that I'm similar wattage. Yeah. So, if you understand the cooking recipe of such a simple amplifier and use the same and apply this to an amp1, you get similar results. You could come closer if you would imitate a non-low cut front EQ. The lows on the amp1 clean channel are slightly tamed. I'm using the bass now on full to be in that territory here. And then with the power amp cranked, I get there. The less I use the power amp saturation, I'm missing this effect because that bluesy, muddy tone comes from the saturated low end, from the saturated bass. And this is what I'm getting here with having max bass into a saturated power amp stage on the amp1. That's the recipe, how to get into this kind of territory. But that's just an extreme setting. Now we can dial this back, use that kind of little mud as a spice, as a nice character. And I mean, I can do this with my guitar volume control, but one, by the way. Back to the Tweed Deluxe. Add some reverb and this is the trick that I learned from the vintage tones. Use that volume control because all the tones are here. Here's my clean sound. Crank it up and there's your lead tone. Okay, and by the way, this is definitely no legato here. This is digging in deep for the impressive punchy licks. Hey, by the way, that's the Bonamassa trick. Yeah, let's show the Bonamassa picture so we know that he knows me and I know him. Da 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 da. Anyway. So here is what he is basically doing. He kind of uses a lot of Eric Johnson's group of 5 notes in the pentatonic scale. A good starting point to learn that is, let's do it. I'm in C right now, like minor pentatonic. And the trick, what you do is like you play a run of 5 notes, like from top to bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And then when you land kind of from the high E string, B string on the G string, you make a downstroke to the B string. And then when you make the downstroke, it's actually just brushing through the strings. Very economic picking. Clever. I'm all about that kind of things that don't hurt and are not just in Hombach style. I highly respect him, but it's like, man, this guy knows how to pick. But I'm kind of keep it simple. So that's the trick. You go 5 notes in alternate picking, and then you make a brush back to the B string, like G string to B string, you brush it, and then you do the same pattern with 5 notes again from the B string. So that's 5 notes patterns, and then with the brush technique, it's like 3 strings down, 1 string up with the brush, 3 strings down, and the same 1 string up with the brush. And this is what you end up with, like, and then that's what Bonamassa is doing all night, and sometimes he plays 4, and he you know, or he plays like 6, and then he combines them, of course, freely, because he knows them all. And I mean, basically, I do the same thing. I don't think about it anymore. I just shred. And I don't think about if I play 6 or 5. I know those patterns. I practice those, and then I go and have my. Yeah, or 4. What are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. That this was what I just played. Or you play like triplets. Da 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 da. No. Once you know how to do that, you shred all day for a couple of years, and then it's a piece of cake, because it's nothing special anymore. Somebody wants to know about Eric Steckel, blues metal, and there's the picture of Eric and myself. Prost. Yeah. We met at a NAMM show, and what is he doing? He's a blues shredder, using, you know, fast runs, but also bitey, nice notes. So he's famous for using more gain, which is a different tonal concept. I simply show you how to do it. I reduce the master volume, so my amp 1 is now clean. So, now it's a clean amp again. I think he uses Mesa Baba amps, but piece of cake, modern channel, and maybe some. Okay, that's too much Actually already, let's find, I have too much bass. So. And maybe we should use a different guitar as well. And Les Paul style guitar. I mean, you can. Whoa, 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 whoa. So, and then. Something that style. So what I have been doing here is I used the modern channel. I used the boost on, let's see, 1 o'clock, and I have a bit more treble and a bit more mids. Basically, that's it. That's the way how to get to Eric's style tone. If I had a bit more A/B time, I would come pretty close with the modern channel. So that's his style. Yeah. Of course, there is tons of different tones in between that. Just let me show you a bit more of the setup here. And of course styles as well. I mean, Chicago blues with Albert King, Freddie King, the Kings and all that stuff. There's so much great blues music out there. So hey, check out the Blues Rock Masterclass. But I wanted to go, where are we? Back in the amp one, and here's a. See, with the Strat, I'm missing the gain. So the Les Paul, I always turn down the gain on the amp one slightly, like this is like 6. To get similar thickness, I put a gain on 10 with the Strat and. As you can hear, I designed my amp one to be pretty good combination with the Stratocaster. Some amps don't do that, you know. They would have that thick tone with a Les Paul only, but you know, if I go to 10, there's that extra thickness that is sometimes too much for humbuckers. So if you use humbuckers, reduce the gain or the volume, the clean volume, towards 5, and you're good to go with a humbucker. And you can go all the way up to have that muddy, bluesy, screaming sounds that I love so much myself. Anyway, I would like to show you my Princeton, which is, here we go. Of course, I did the classic with the blues, with a tube screamer. Let's get rid of the tube screamer first so you hear the amp as it is. Hey, Princeton, there's nothing about it, just a great clean tone, and that's it, you know. It has a treble control. It has a nice sparkle to it, and it has, I call it the bass on-off switch, because it's like on 0, there's like no bass, and then 3, there's all the bass, and then between 4 and 10, there's nothing happening anymore. Anything on the Fender amps, most of the Fender amps, and especially this one, happens between like 2 and 4. Here, this is useless. 5 to 10, no difference. Anyway, so I have kind of 50% bass on 3. Or a touch less. And that's basically it. There is a tremolo. This one doesn't have reverb. So, and then that's all you get from a Princeton. But it's great clean. So then classic tube screamer. I'm boosting the level all the way up and just have a little gain. That's, well, a typical blues combination, tube screamer, Fender amp. We had that before. Okay, and then I do have, which is, yeah, okay, this was, oh man, these are also noisy. This was the Tweed Deluxe. We had this already explained. And then there is my beautiful JTM 45, which is, again, listen to that fantastic clean tone. I was like, wow. Okay. So this is rectifier tube. You know, it has that nice sagging. For me, it's as good as it gets in that crunch rock territory from clean. I mean, I can get it really clean. I think it sounds even better than most Fender amps. And then I give it a bit more volume here, normal. I bridged both channels, and then I have the... Yeah, and then if I put everything timed, I have a creamy overdrive. So, nice. If we want to compare this with an amp 1, just for fun, I switch to amp 1. I crank this a little bit too. I should put everything in the middle. Trust me, it's like... So, amp 1, JTM 45. So, I don't think it's a lot of difference. When you simply use the same recipe like the old amps, you get there. Questions. We need to talk Justin into playing some super high speed blues. Yeah, this would be interesting. Yeah. Giffy Moroder, some experience with Princeton Reverb 2. Yeah, I mean, Princeton's, they have so many different models. I think the blackface ones from the mid-60s are the most sought after ones. Mine I bought when I was a teenager. I didn't have the money, so I bought a silver face. They sound the Princeton 2. Wait a minute, Princeton 2 reverb. Okay. Giffy is modifying this with an added missing grid leak resistor at the tube. Yeah. Well, I'm not so familiar with this one, but I have my Super Reverb, my blackface here, which is kind of my favorite blackface era Fender amp. So I'm kind of sorted, but the Princetons from that time are also killer. Somebody, Hardy O says, so many people watching, but only 43 likes. Thumbs up. Okay, yeah, you should, subscribe to the channel and hit the button. So, okay, done. Hey, Julian Kaiba, he's on a break. He's in Bahrain. Next week we can talk about this because he met up with what's his name? Electric Force 1977 in Saudi Arabia, which is, what a small world that is. I'm out here in LA. Got me playing Dead Man. Okay. Giffy Moroder now says Reverb 2 is the Riviera era with the lead channel. Yeah, this was way later than I thought. I had what was it? The Super Champ in the 80s, which was I guess a Rivera fight Fender, maybe from the same era. Okay, guys, anyway, so for me, the important thing is that you understand the note choices, that you have a good groove and a good tone. I was just playing the Strat and I have so many other great guitars here, just for fun. Before we don't play this guitar enough, I'm using this 56 Les Paul Jr. P90. What a guitar. Listen to this. Huh? That's a guitar. One pickup, one volume, one tone, and the amp one cranked for these authentic old school tones. Wow, huh? I think that's a great guitar. And my 335. Maybe a bit cleaner, this one. Yeah, Larry Carlton style, like with the Tweed Deluxe. Where's my Tweed Deluxe here? Wow, no volume, which means no output power. That's a Tweed Deluxe versus an Amp 1. Okay, Amp 1. Reduce the power. Again, great guitar. I could go on forever with guitars and tones because they are so exciting. One more, my Les Paul. Just Okay, another nice guitar. Anyway, I think we are ready now for a very, very interesting interview by somebody that I discovered on the internet and who contacted me somehow even, and I was blown away by his tasty tones and tasty playing. Yeah, watch this interview that I've done with Tommy Z from upstate New York. Sometimes you browse through whatever, Facebook or Instagram, and then you hear stuff that you think, man, that's great. And he uses the amp-1 and it sounds simply stellar. Yeah, check out this nice interview with Tommy Z. Cheers. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a big pleasure and honor to have Tommy Z in our Academy of Tone livestream. I have been following him for quite a while because of his tasty playing and his tasty tones.
That is one thing you can't deny.
Yeah, the clips are just, they caught my attention because they were so great. The playing, the real deal blues playing, the phrasing, the whole thing. It's like, yeah, I'm a fan. It's very simple.
Well, thank you, Thomas. And I have to tell you, your invention is magnificent, and it has facilitated me to be able to do that, because one of the proofs or tests of me for me is with an amplifier is if it just permits me to play without any adjustments or compromises. If whether I'm playing just unplugged and then I plug in, it shouldn't make all that much of a difference. I mean, I know we're going into the electric realm, and there's, things to consider that affect the way it comes out. But your amp just lets me play how I want to play and hear what I want to hear.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell that by listening to what you put on Instagram and Facebook, and it sounds so organic. It's like I can tell that you get lost in your playing, and this is in the end what it's all about.
Yeah.
And you can do the stuff with playing behind, and then like a.
Oh. That seems to be the one that people like grab onto. Like, I'm stealing that one.
Of course, I just checked it out again. I thought, man, this is so cool because it's so effective, and it's it makes sense from a musical point of view, but it also makes sense a little bit of a show point of view. And I mean, you have everything. You have the energy, you have the taste, you have the sound, you have the right note choice, which I think is so important, and the killer phrasing. And yeah, besides that, you are a singer and the full package. So I just very much enjoy the clips that I have found of you there.
Thanks. Well, I'm honored to be here because I've been a fan of you and your playing and in your inventions for some time. I've been watching Academy of Tone for a while, and the way that I stumbled upon it was I'm somebody, even though I'm like you say, from a pure blues standpoint, in essence, from the chronology of the music, from
Right.
its origins, through post-war modern electric blues, but I'm open-minded about the technology. I don't
Right.
let it just stop at a Tweed or a Blackface amp or a Marshall. I started my digital or that journey started with Yamaha DG80. You know, I had that, the DG100. I had the Pod and the 2.0, and that was great for a while. I've got the Kemper Profiler and the aux box, and I've used the different softwares just to plug directly into the computer and things like that. But I can tell you definitively that this is the first time with your amp that there are no compromises. There is no but about it. And what I mean by that is, with any of these previous amplifiers, it was always, it sounds great, but you know what I mean? It would have a great sound, or it's convenient, to take a little pod and take it to a small gig and use it. But there was always a but in every circumstance, and with yours there are no buts. And one of the tests for that not only is just the freedom of how I play, but also to be able to react with it with harmonic feedback.
I see.
If I can turn around and grab a note of feedback at will with just the right amount of gain, then that's proof. That was it. I mean, that's like, what else could I possibly ask for? That something permits me to play freely, and also to exercise those other aspects of what a tube amplifier can offer.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm in for. I have all my beautiful old school tube amps, from back in the days, and they are great. They're just too heavy and not flexible enough, and they're also sensitive, like to mains voltage and things. The other day, I did a comparison with this Japanese voltage stabilizer that AC/DC is using, and I was shocked on how the Fender amps lose their sound with just a little voltage drop. It's so sensitive. It's just 10 volts less.
Yeah, that's the point I got to with my classic Fenders. Was I had bought a Variac, and I was having very good success with it. Finding the right voltage usually is what's recommended, or something similar to what's recommended on the back, that you just can't get by plugging it in by itself. So, but at that point, I was like, I'm carrying around this heavy amp, I'm carrying around the Variac, and everything else that's coming along with it. And of course, my pedal board at the time wasn't very light either, just because I'm using different pedals to try to achieve what I no longer need with the Amp One. Actually, I used to have like 3 overdrives, maybe 2 fuzzes, maybe a boost pedal, and my modulation effects and a wah-wah on my pedal board, and that was getting pretty heavy. But now I find I can just use like a tube screamer like overdrive. I don't even need that really when you've got the boost function and the overdrive channel capability. So it's just wonderful. I love it. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, the other day I was looking at my old pedal board again that I had in combination with my tube amps, before BluGuitar Amp 1. And it's like, man, I have been carrying around so many pedals, and I had that pedal board, I had that 20 kilogram all tube head. I had an extra bag for cables, just signal cables and control cables, and I'm so happy I could reduce all that kind of carrying stuff around to less than 50% with the Amp 1 and the new pedal board, and it's getting even further with the upcoming Amp X. That's the next step, if you need all these whistles and bells. But I can gig with my Amp 1 just as it is, with nothing else. Maybe a delay pedal, because I'm a delay addict. That's my kind of thing.
I do have a little delay that I've added, but fundamentally that's all I need. So you're telling me that I'm probably going to be okay without the Amp X? I probably won't need something like that?
No, because if you like an Amp 1 and you don't need the versatility for all these effects and making too many presets, there is not a need for amp X. Of course, everybody talks about all the options, and then everybody thinks they need an amp X. But hey, it's like cars. If you have a 3 Series BMW, why do you need a 7 Series BMW? More function. If you like that car, it has 4 wheels. It's fucking fast. Anyhow, and if that's doing all you need, it's an amp1 is doing all the job, and so amp1 will be continued. This is like, some people don't get it. It's just because
so that's what it is. The amp1 is fundamentally is the core of the amp X, and then you've just added the flexibility for presets and more. No, so like the blue box is probably part of amp X. Okay.
But basically, it will ship with like my amp1 sounds, and it will ship with the blue box sounds, speaker emulation sounds, and with effects. But it is updatable like the digital stuff. And when you tell me that you have been on a Line 6 pod or Helix or whatever device, how many presets did you actually really use? You know what?
I used one, and then like we were talking about with the pedals, I just basically used a pedal platform, which to augment what I was telling you about my journey to amp X. It started with the Eric Gales DV
Mark
amplifier, which is great. I've got some videos of me playing with that. But again, for me, I know Eric loves it. And he loved the way your amp sounded. He told me I sounded amazing. We did a gig some weeks back, and he was very complimentary about what he was hearing there. But my journey to you came by way of that, because I was like, yeah, it's great, sounds great, it's got a lot of power, it's got a very good tone, it's portable, but it didn't give me the same feel. And the harmonic feedback and of course the extra features, because that is just a one trick pony. That's a pedal platform with
power.
reverb.
Yeah, but I mean that's the difference in my amp. That's even the power amp reacts like a tube power amp. I basically have done the same things that I know of real tube amps, and I know that it's important to have the power amp react the same way, because that gives you that reactive feeling, and
Is that called sag?
It's sagging, yeah. I mean, it's like when you have a vintage. My vintage channel does this a lot. When you have a traditional old school tube amp, there is a lot of sagging, especially with the very old ones with rectifier tubes, because what happens, you play a note like so, and then there's a lot of power drawn from the power supply, and when the voltage is used in the output stage to drive the speaker with the high volume, the voltage drops. And that's the zag effect. And when this zagging is happening, everything changes because the headroom is shrinking, and that's kind of a compression. But since you have less headroom, the clip curve, the way the saturation happens, also changes. So it's a super bouncy, interactive thing. And this is all part of amp1. So amp1 technology is different from anything else on the market. I mean, the DV Mark is probably a great product. They are coming from Mark Bass, which is a bass company, and that's, I would say, their core competence, and their amps are all over the place, and they're great. So
yeah, well, let's face it, Eric Gales could play through an AM radio and still sound incredible.
Well, I mean, Eric Gales he's just too good. I mean, his version of Little Wing with all the Mozart and the classical and the,
Yeah, I love how he reharmonizes stuff and throws a lot of gospel chords in, and he's just on a different level and a beautiful artist and a really nice guy too.
Yeah, I never had the pleasure to meet him, but you told me the other day that you have a radio station for like blues artists. Is this this WBLZ? Z? Yeah,
WBLZ, yeah.
Z.
Yeah, I was for about 7 years. I was on terrestrial radio. It was called WBFO, and it was based out of Buffalo. It did stream worldwide, but it was terrestrial. And I was the blues host for every Sunday night,
Yeah.
and it was an NPR affiliate, so it was a very legitimate station for public radio, and had a good listenership. But they had a changeover in executive, like the CEO or the president or whatever. So somebody retired that was more supportive of blues programming. This new guy came in. He's more of an alternative 90s or 80s
Yeah.
kind of guy. So he's gotten rid of the blues altogether, but I was ahead of the curve. I kind of saw this coming, and I started this radio station called WBLZ, and you can do a quick link to it, wblz.org, and you can listen in. But that's where I play all these artists, whether it's the original guys, Skip James, Robert Johnson, and then the electric guys, Howlin' Wolf, Muddy Waters, and Sonny Boy Williamson, Little Walter. But then I've got everything because I'm open-minded. I have a very big tent concept for my genres, and I have the Gary Clark Jr.'s and Eric Gales's and these artists that are really pushing the boundaries of what is considered blues and blues rock, and even Joe Bonamassa, who I've known for 32 years. He's included in that group of people that are just doing that. They're very relevant, and it's up to you on whether you consider it, with your, authentic stuff. I don't mean to say anybody's not authentic, but there's always that question of to purists on what is blues.
Yeah, blues hardliners versus the more open-minded guys. But hey, I think there's a beauty in all these different facets of that genre. I mean, I remember when I was a teenager, I was listening to some old school blues like B.B. King and Albert and Freddie Kings and Muddy Waters also. But when Stevie Ray Vaughan came along in when was this, mid 80s or?
Yeah, his first album was like 83, 84.
Yeah, I first heard him on David Bowie's Let's Dance,
Yeah.
And then,
Right.
yeah. Wow.
Playing all these Albert King licks. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the aggression of Albert King. I love it, and that I was a teenager by then, and then it's like, man, this guy is killer. And
I met Stevie in a Burger King of all places. Yeah, when I was in high school, like you were saying. So we're probably very close in age and come from a lot of the same places. In fact, my orientation or initiation into guitar playing was during the metal hairbanding. I mean, Yngwie and Steve Vai and Eddie Van Halen.
Yeah.
These were the guys that were all dominating the genre and guitar magazines and stuff like that. So yeah, we come from the same place. But I also wanted to just make a comment about, you said something about Freddie King, and in some of the videos that I think you've seen on Facebook, I'm actually playing with his brother, who was his bass player.
Wow,
that's Benny Turner. So that might be a real nice sense of not pride in a bad way, but accomplishment that your invention over there is actually being used on stage with that same DNA.
Wow, yeah. I mean, I have only one Stevie Ray Vaughan story. I was being a teenager. I was coming to a concert here in Germany, a local medium-sized hall, not that big, and I was like maybe in the second raw there. I tried to make it to the front. I couldn't make it all the way. But I tell you, this guy, he had a 100-watt Marshall and a whole pile of Fender amps and whatnot on stage. And for the encore, he removed like a rubber thing that was protecting the audience from the volume, so which was hanging in front of the cabinet. So he just got this away, and then he went for his thing. I know how loud he played, and it was great. I don't regret it. My ears are still working. I'm still fine. But this was a very puristic experience, like. I think he did some Jimi Hendrix things and, Voodoo Child or
he
whatever.
usually closed the show with Voodoo Child or that Little Wing segue medley into Third Stone from the Sun.
Yeah. So talking about Joe Bonamassa, is he, now he's like living in California, right? Like Los Angeles or?
Yeah, I think he has, from what he's told me and I've seen, I think he's got maybe 2 or 3 cities that he has places in. And one of the other ones is Nashville. And I think he's also got a place in New York. He's actually from New York. He's from a town called Utica, which is about 3 hours from me. It's one of the suburbs of Syracuse, New York. And he and I played together when we were like teenagers. We did a number of gigs together. So we hung out and talked on the phone back then, and I sold his dad and him one of my guitars that I still would have liked to find out what happened to it. I happen to like Japanese photo flame Fenders, the reissues.
Yeah.
They were so good. I think some of them were better than the American ones. But anyway, so he's doing fantastic. Look at all the great stuff he's doing. In
absolutely. The Fender photo you're talking about, is that the green one you play sometimes in the videos?
That's one of the ones I managed to keep. Yeah, but the one that I sold at them was a photo flame Telecaster. So
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But that's basically what I'm using is a 60s photo flame Fender, and I've got it adjusted to my liking, and like you do with that beautiful Strat that you've got there. That thing's incredible.
Yeah, I'm lucky. I bought this when I was 17, and it wasn't even expensive back then. Today, it's a lot of money, but I don't sell it, so it's not money. It's just a guitar.
Just got to keep an eye on it,
That's what I'll do. And I have a friend who is a security guy, and if anyone has an eye on this guitar, I just tell, watch out, Tony is coming watching you.
Look out.
Yeah, and Tony is professional, black sunglasses. Don't fuck with Tony. Yeah, one of these guys. So bring that guitar back to me, and I'm the peacefulest guy on this planet. But if you keep my guitar, if you steal my guitar and keep it, Tony is getting you.
He's going to find you.
Yeah, absolutely.
You must have one of those RFID chips in there that can be located anywhere in the world, right?
Yeah, screw them in. Yeah. Here's another interesting, talking about Joe Bonamassa, is like, I play a lot of smaller venues here, maybe 250, 300 people venues, sometimes 150 only coming, sometimes sold out. It depends on, how it is. And like 10 years ago, or maybe, 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago, you could see Joe playing there for like very little money, Yeah. It's like playing for whatever, 17 euros. I take 25 by now, ha ha ha. But he takes whatever, 69 these days. I don't know.
He's definitely just got a great thing going, and I love the fact that he's an independent music success story.
Yeah.
He is also in terms of my country. He embodies the American dream. Because he calls his own shots. He's done the hard work, and he had the breaks that and took advantage of the breaks that he got to build the empire that he has now. I look at it like this way. This is a guy that was going around, like you were talking about, knocking on doors,
Yeah.
seeing if anybody was going to open up and let him through. And
Yeah.
because the blues community can be very fickle, especially back then, it was probably a lot harder for him to break through into some of those places. But here's a guy, he's knocking on the door, but at the same time, he's looking around. He goes, "Oh, look, there's a 2x4. Oh, look, there's a hammer and nails." And he starts, while he's knocking, he's starting to build his own
His
house.
own.
And then all of a sudden, when that person, opens the peephole on that door he's been knocking on for years, and they see what he's been building, now they want to open up and come on the inside, and they got to knock on his door. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
I mean, I think he was so smart to see where business is going, like using the internet, using Facebook, connecting things, and getting to the next level in this community and in the business as well. Because while a lot of artists are moaning about nobody has a record deal anymore and nobody is doing nothing anymore, he went for it, and somebody had a great plan, and he is part of that. Maybe it was him or his team or whatever,
Sure.
but
So whatever it was, it
yeah,
happened. Yeah.
yeah. And so the result of that is that there is somebody out there that keeps the blues alive. What's one of his
Sure.
themes or claims, which is great.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Okay, the back to the AMP1. You have a silver, or you have a mercury, or you have them both,
I
or
have two Mercuries. I loved it so much that I was, if I was concerned that if something happened to it, that I might panic, and what would I do? That's kind of silly, because right over here I've got a 1964 Fender Vibroverb. I've got these Tweed amplifiers right over here. I've got, you name it. I've got some great equipment. So it's not like I would be stranded without the Mercury edition. But that just goes to show you how attached and how much I love what you've made. Is that I ordered a second one, and I'm also using the blue box. So in any of the videos that you have, I didn't know if you were going to show any. I'm pretty sure that in any of those circumstances, they're all using the blue box and not really a mic'd up cabinet.
yeah. Yeah, for me, I always make the same experience. I still have a cabinet with a built-in Shure SM7B microphone capsule in front of the speaker, the transformer inside the cabinet. Like, this was the best I could get without a speaker simulation. And I've been at the front of house and I beat both, like the real mic versus my blue box. And I said, the days of the mic are over.
Yeah.
For my sound, it's my personal decision.
What's your preference? What's your preference on the blue box? Which one do you tend to go to?
It is actually the Stack 1970, here, this one. And if you could see this cabinet, this is the Marshall cabinet that I'm moving.
I can see it. Yeah. Oh, I didn't realize that. I thought it was just a table.
No, this is what I use Marshall cabinets these days for. They are beautiful tables,
Well, that's what I'm beginning to use my CDs as, because nobody buys CDs anymore. I'm just going to market them as drink coasters.
Yeah. Well, yeah, things are changing, but yeah. So it's a great cabinet. This is actually, it was a bass stack. I bought a full stack Marshall, a full stack like with the 100-watt head, which is. It's sitting here on the floor. It's the lowest one of the three. You can see the top one here. There's another one, and the one underneath that is exactly the top. You don't see it. Lucas is trying, next to the Les Paul. Anyway, and that's the original 100-watt head that came with the full stack, the top and the bottom cabinet. And these are greenbacks. But for bass, 55 hertz. When I bought it, I had no clue about all that stuff. I just bought it because the bass player in my band sold it to me and said, okay, I have an Ampeg, which is better. These days, the Ampeg with 810s, it doesn't fit in a regular car, maybe in a regular American car from back in the days, but in a European car,
Yeah.
Anyway, these days, but I bought his complete bass rig, and of course I tried it out and I liked it. So it became my sound, and it still is. So I was simply lucky. You know, there was no investigation or no search for it. It just came.
It sounds very similar from a blues player's perspective to what happened with the Fender Bassman, where the Fender
Yeah.
Bassman was originally, designed for bass. And recently, I had the pleasure of playing through Buddy Guy's Bassman.
Okay.
I played with him up in Toronto, and he had my producer and friend Tom Hambridge was playing drums, and I didn't know what I was going to play into, and I took that greenish blue Strat that I've been favoriting for a while.
Yeah.
They just plugged me straight in to Buddy's amp. He had two of them up there. He playing the other one. And when I opened that thing up, it was like, holy
Wow.
shit,
Yeah.
it sounded amazing. I have to, if I do ever get another guitar amplifier, because I don't see myself doing that with the Amp One, I'll probably get a Fender Bassman or something like that.
See, there's a Fender Bassman blackface over there on
Well,
the
I'm
top.
talking about like a tweed one, yeah.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
Oh, okay.
This is the. But I'm all about Fender Bassmans. There's. Anyway, I know what you're talking about. It's the tweed Fender Bassmans. I have a video on our, what we call it, Sound Finder. There's a website, BluGuipedia, with like all the background knowledge, and there's a section where you can type in for different sounds, and there's a 55 Bassman, and you should check that out, because I sometimes do videos about vintage guitars and vintage amps. So I plugged into this Fender Bassman amp from 55 and thought, wow, this sounds really good. Then I had my A/B switching system and tried to match the tone with settings I would usually never use, because it's like I'm not used to have whatever the mids on 8 or whatever.
Oh, okay.
And then it's like no treble, like weird, for my perspective, weird settings, doing the A/B thing. It's like, it's damn close.
Wow. Yeah, I'm going to look into it.
Yeah.
If I could get that from time to time, I think I'd be happy.
Yeah, and watch that, because that was the tweed Bassman. That was that very early, and of course they also vary because of. But this was one of those magic.
I don't know how much they changed between 55 and 59 compared to like the Twin and stuff like that.
They're still kind of the same recipe, tweed recipe. And then that's a totally different thing. Blackface that doesn't break up like the early tweeds. But the tweeds, they have a magic. I totally agree on that. This is great.
I was blown away. Yeah, so I'm not sure which videos you tended to like or which sounds you like, but I'm happy to tell you, a little bit about anything that you might be interested in.
Well, let me see. I have a few videos that I enjoyed a lot. And what I'm doing right now, just for other people to follow what I'm doing, I'm going to Guitar Tommy Z on Instagram, and there's the one with you playing behind the back, and then there's the one with a blues singer.
That's Benny Turner. That's Freddie King's brother.
See, I think that's killer. For me, honestly, killer, because the way it sounds. Hey, this is, if you make my amp sound like that, it doesn't get any better. It's like I have my own dream to get my tones, but you actually took that into the blues direction a bit further than I could do it myself, and this makes me happy. You know what I mean? It's like you put that extra icing on the cake. Like, wow,
you should be so proud. Well, a lot of it too comes from my decades of tone searching and owning these different things, and modifying and trying different speakers and things. And I just got like to the point where it's like, if I can't make an amp sound like I want it to, and then you can only get that sound at a certain volume in a certain nightclub where you can turn it up that loud. Now you've got this amp one where you have this global master on there.
Yeah.
And everything. I mean, it's so controllable. It's damn near perfect, for what we've been searching for all these. In fact, I was telling my friend Michael about this the other day. Michael Lee Jackson was Ian Gillan's guitar player, and he got me to play on one of Ian Gillan's tracks, "When a Blind Man Cries" from Deep Purple. Yeah. Yeah, I played on that with John Lord and Jeff Healy's on playing lead guitar. And
Cool.
but I was telling him the other day, because he is also an amplifier tone hound. I'm like, this is just wonderful, Mike. And he searched it out while we were talking on the phone, and he's going to buy one too. So I've already got another one sold for you here in the U.S.
Thank you.
Talking about what I was, just doing on that video, and most of these videos is, like you were saying, the vintage channel is very much like a Bassman Plexi, or not Plexi, but like a Blues Breaker JTM 45 kind of a thing. That's the way I would assume that it is. And then just through, sometimes I'm using a 12-inch or a 15-inch. I tend to like 15s. There's a nice big sound that you get from the amp 1 through 15s, whether it's the EVs or JBLs, or I have a Celestion fullback that I play through, and they all sound great. But to be honest with you, it's just, no matter what you plug it into, it's very, very flexible to get the sound that you want.
Yeah. I know that some people sometimes think I'm a bit on the bright side when it comes to the amp 1.
I was initially.
Yeah. But I mean, there's not a problem if you turn down the treble, because it's a different kind of EQ in this amp. So
Right.
what are you?
Yeah, let me just interject here for a second and say, anybody that gets an amp 1, or whether it's amp X, or I haven't played the Iridium edition, but I assume it's very similar. Don't come to this amplifier thinking that you're going to be able to set it like you're going to set your 64 Super Reverb. It's not going to be like that. You just have to play with it a little bit. And the other thing is, if you think it's a little trebly, all of a sudden, hey, there's this thing. There's this thing on the guitar that you probably haven't been using or heard of, called the tone knob.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden it works. It does something with this amp. And I'm exaggerating and dramatizing, but now all of a sudden you can roll this thing back into the sweet spot where that treble that you feel is excessive initially is all of a sudden very, very beautiful and detailed,
Yeah. Yeah. For me, this is what I learned for my vintage amps, that I need to have, or that I want to have that high end that I know from my vintage amps, because they got that high end. Some people never played a Plexi Marshall, so they know Plexi models from their modeling devices and stuff, but they've never experienced what it means to play a Plexi. And for me, it's a raw animal, including everything: the rumble, the punch, and that sparkling high end. And if you get rid of that, you are taming the beast, and that's not a Plexi for me anymore. So
okay.
So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 just sitting here, and 2 more over there, and I have another 2 sitting somewhere else.
I do like that. Well, it sounds like you've got quite the collection. I wouldn't mind playing through them as much as I like your amp. But, and I do like the other channels. I think the one that I don't use very much at all, but occasionally, is the really extreme one. It's more like
modern.
Seems like it's more like a rectifier type of tone.
Yeah.
But I do use the clean channel.
Yeah.
But I use it, pretty turned up to match the volume that I've got things set up for the vintage or the Plexi channel.
Yeah.
And I was recently in Colombia, South America, and I did some dates there, and managed to get a recording from one of the venues, and I'm using that clean. In fact, the whole recording is all amp 1. And I'm so looking forward to putting this thing out. I think I've got a live album on my hands. This was one of the performances in my third tour of Colombia and South America. You wouldn't think that they would be such a blues audience, but they are some of the most fantastic listeners and audiences I've ever played for in my life. So in this particular clip, I'm playing a city called Bucaramanga. And yeah, there was this theater called the Teatro Santander. And this was a situation where, and talk about excellent customer service. I mean, I messaged you, I think, on Instagram or something. I was in a little bit of a panic. I said, Thomas, they've provided me a cabinet, even though I requested an 8-ohm cabinet. They provided me with an orange 412 cabinet, but it's 16 ohms. And I said, I've never done this before, and I only had one amp one with me. I didn't have a spare. I didn't want to do anything particularly dangerous that could harm the amp for the show. So you messaged me back right away and you said, it's no problem. You can plug into the 8-ohm or the 16-ohm on that and you'll be just fine. And sure enough, I plugged into that orange cabinet. I think it has vintage 30s in it. But I used the 16-ohm tap off of the back of the amp one. And again, I didn't even have to think about it. So this particular song is a Johnny Guitar Watson tune that Steve Miller and many other people have covered called Gangster of Love. And I take my wireless and I go out into the crowd and sometimes I'll just use the left hand and somebody will come along and I'll let them strum and do the right hand thing. And we just have a lot of fun with the audience. But this shows you just how dynamic that amp is, because in the beginning of the clips or the performance, you're going to hear that guitar rocks, it grinds. You can hear the vibrations and the harmonic content, oscillating as you're playing it. But then I go out into the audience and I can bring that thing down to a whisper. The amp is almost silent, and I'm playing some of the soft, sweet stuff that you might appreciate from like Stevie Ray Vaughan and those Strat players, in the in-between position. So yeah, that's what I was playing in this particular circumstance. Thanks to Amp One, and because think of it this way also. You're somebody who spent your whole life trying to sound and play a certain way, and you've got this special amplifier and with the special tubes and the special speaker and the special settings that only you can get from that amplifier. It's like, you can't go to Germany, you can't go to some other country and bring that amp. What are you going to do? So now I've got this Amp One, and I just show up with this 2.6 pound amplifier. How many kilograms is that?
1.2. 1.2.
It's brilliant. So 1.2 kilograms, and I just show up with this thing in my gig bag or that little case, and I just request a 8-ohm or 16-ohm cabinet.
And typically,
that's it. Yeah, typically I get like a 4x12 or something like that. I plug in and there's no compromise. I don't think about it. It's like, okay, I'm just doing my thing now, and I achieve it.
Yeah.
We had talked about how my the music has shifted from CDs to streaming. So anybody that's curious about my music can obviously find it on Spotify and Apple Music and those platforms.
Yeah, and of course, if you live in the States, in maybe upstate New York or wherever you play, I think you are gigging quite a lot, and you're traveling in a certain area there.
I think we talked about it. You have a similar type of attitude about it at this age, is not aggressively touring on the road nonstop and eating crappy food and sleeping on different mattresses every night. I'm more of a passing touring artist. If somebody books me for a festival, I'll drive or fly to it and do some routing dates there and back. But for the most part, I'm playing a lot here in upstate New York and Pennsylvania and basically the Northeast area, fairly regularly.
Yeah, and I can just highly recommend to watch you playing. I mean, if you live somewhere there, watch it, because it's the real deal. I mean, I can tell that, Tommy, there's the whole passion behind it. I enjoy it so much, and it's you don't have that compromise thing. It's not. The same thing like you were talking about sounds. Is I would say it's about in your playing. You know, you don't go there. It's like, okay, I play, but there's no buts. You play, and that's great. You know.
That's you were talking about Joe Bonamassa, and
Yeah.
the last time I saw him, we were sitting down just talking backstage at one of his shows, and he said, what kind of guitar are you playing, Tommy? And I said, and here's a guy who's got the best
Everything.
of the
Yeah.
best, and he let me play them too. He let me
Yeah.
play that Nocaster and all those
Yeah.
Strats and Les Pauls that he's got. But I didn't hesitate. I said, I've got a 60s, photo flame Strat. And he says, because you love it. And then he
Yeah.
went like this, and he said, tone is in the hands. He said,
Exactly.
tone is in the hands. So
Yeah. And that's the main important thing. If you connect to whatever gear or guitar you play, that makes you feel like it feels like you can be you can be yourself. Hey, that is all what matters. And I'm just happy that I hear people discovering the qualities that I was striving for when I designed this thing, and spent an extra hour for this, and need a little touch more sagging, a little bit more of that, and then
yeah.
maybe it's good.
Well, Thomas, you really should be proud of yourself. You've made a contribution here, in my opinion, for what it's worth, and you've made my life more enjoyable. And it's also one of those things where I don't mean to overstate this, but when you come across something like this, it makes it makes me want to play more. I look forward to going to each gig now. It's like, I don't know, it's very special. Sometimes you find a new artist or a new pedal or
Yeah.
something that just
Wow.
inspires you to keep
Yeah.
going. And this is something that has very, very lasting satisfaction for me, because I've had this. I would have to look up my receipt. I think I got it from Sweetwater or something, but it was well over a year ago. I've been using this for well over a year. So any videos or things that you see of me online in the past year that are inside of that time frame chronologically, I'm using the
Yeah.
Amp One.
Yeah.
So and I'm happy that it also makes you happy, because
Yeah.
what a great cycle of inspiration.
Yeah. Hey, Tommy, thanks so much for joining in. I, yeah, I think we will continue maybe next year, because life goes on and things will happen, and I hope I can meet you in person one day.
Likewise.
But hey, thanks so much for joining in, Mr. Tommy C.
Thank you, Thomas.
Big pleasure.